Virtual reality is an important piece of technology moving forward. Especially during quarantine, it's been a blast to hang out with friends or explore an open world filled to the brim with creativity. To anybody who hasn't tried virtual reality, your first experience is the most important. Headsets aside, the first game or games you play will determine if VR is worthy to continue growing. Welcome, Web of Wires. I remember the first time I plugged in my headset. I launched up Superhot VR, and I immediately saw the potential virtual reality had when I dodged a bullet like in the Matrix. In this video, I want to talk about 6 games everybody should consider when picking their first time experience, why I picked them, and their flaws. I'm going to start off with a game I can't recommend enough for first timers, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. Not only is it scary, but there's tons of stuff to interact with, and it's much more immersive than other titles because it's usually really dark. This game is a completely different experience outside of the headset. The horror aspect is completely missing. But as soon as that headset is on, expect screams and horror. Now, this isn't just me being, scared to death. Every person I know felt physically in danger until a couple hours was put into the game. Even at that, some game modes were still too scary for them. It's easily one I can recommend the most if you're up to it. Just be warned that this thing is a lot scarier in VR than a monitor will ever be. Google Earth is a great, fun, and free first experience. Now, the menu is really clunky, the tutorial is extremely long, and there's no microphone support for typing. But if you can look past all that, it's one of the coolest places to be in. You're able to visit the street you grew up on, go to landmarks you've always wanted to go to, or you can just pull a me and look at the outside of your house from the inside of your house. Whatever you choose, it's not the most immersive, and it definitely feels like a gimmick, but there's a lot of fun to be had. This one depends on the player. If they like physical activity, arcade games, or Star Wars, I can absolutely recommend Beat Saber. Otherwise, don't you dare play this game until you've explored a little. This game feels, and definitely is a gimmick. It's only possible in VR, but still. And don't take this as I don't like Beat Saber. I have over 160 hours in this game. Just please know that there's a lot more to VR than just Beat Saber. I will say though, this is the best thing money can buy if you can only get a game or two, as long as it's modded. It's super easy to mod and makes your experience so much better. Again, I love this game, but only play it if you know going into it that Beat Saber does not equal all of what VR has to offer. But something I can recommend to everybody with a strong stomach is Pistol Whip. I don't know how first timers will be with this game, it's a hit or miss, but movement usually makes half of the VR users sick. You need to sort of train yourself in remembering this is a game and not real life. If you can look past that, Pistol Whip is the best starter game. Not only does the game make the player feel like John Wick, but the menus are easy to access and controls were simple to everybody I let play. For $25, you're definitely getting your money's worth. Virtual reality gets nowhere near as much attention as it deserves. It was one of my first VR experiences, and it still marks one of my favorites. It's a psychological horror game where you need to escape a reality where humans are no longer needed. You're set in a VR landscape where you need to do tasks for AI. Each character has a unique personality based on the item they are, including full voice acting throughout the entire game. It's not a game designed around replayability though. It's fun to replay, but the magic is all gone. Aside from that, there's a slight but easy learning curve on your first playthrough. If you have around an hour's worth of playtime with no outside interruption, this is a near perfect and very enjoyable first experience to any story lover. Even better, it's only $10. I want to wrap this up with my first experience, and a moment I will never forget. Superhot. It's an indie game originally released on flat screens, where time moves only when you move. It's really cool, especially watching the replay in real time. After that, the team decided to make a sequel in VR, and oh my, it's great. It has early VR problems like weird physics when throwing things and slightly weird controls, but if you can look past that or adapt to it, it's a great game for $25. Out of all games here, I fondly remember Superhot VR the most. There's something about dodging that one bullet or timing a shot perfectly that no other game has offered. I can't recommend Superhot enough, not only to VR users, but anybody who has a modern gaming platform. All these games are great for first timers. Honestly, if any of these sound interesting, go for it. I want to go over some games you should not try first though. Any game with movement that isn't teleporting, stay away from. This includes Pavlov, Boneworks, and VRChat. I left Pistol Whip in there because for some reason the automatic movement didn't get nearly as many people sick as the other games. please don't play a game that has hard controls. Anything that involves arms or backpacks or any sort of realism, just stay away from for now. Learn how to use the controller in multiple simple games first to get a better understanding. Trust me, it will be frustrating. And finally, don't you dare play Half-Life Alyx. Not because the game is overpriced or expensive, it is my favorite game of 2020. Don't play it because it is my favorite game of 2020. It will blow every other experience out of the water. Every game will feel empty or unfinished compared to Half-Life Alyx because of how detailed literally everything is. Once you're able to play Boneworks all the way through, then play it. Just don't let that be the first game you're able to play, unless it's the only game you're able to play. Virtual reality isn't something you can experience by just watching a video. It's not something you can assume is bad until you've thoroughly played through games. The closest thing I can think of to VR is like a movie theater. Even at that, it's nowhere near as cool. If you have any opportunity to try a game out, take it. I promise you there is potential as long as you're able to look into how it can be used in the future.